Hello guys, welcome to Clastro Tech and Dave, and as the title states, I'll be today showing you how to integrate 3 APIs using Python. Well, just as I will use 3 APIs to show you how, but I do 3 things. First is to like this video, second is to punch that big red subscribe button down below, and the third is to ring the notification bell to get notified when I post new videos. Well, that's all for now, and now let's hop right in. Well, first let me give you some context. As I have said, I'll be today them using Python. Using 3 APIs. First is weather API, second is news API, and third is currency exchange API. Well, now let's hop right into the code. And also, I will assume that you have your IDE set up and Python installed. Well, in the code, first we are importing the necessary libraries and the other APIs. For now, we have only 2 necessary libraries to import. Well, it's requests and JSON. To install those libraries, we'll open our terminal. For me, it will be the Visual Studio Code terminal inbuilt. In there, I will just type in pip install requests and then JSON. After we enter, it will give error for me called requirement already satisfied, because I have already installed those packages. But for you, it may be successful installation, or if it is wrong, if it goes wrong and gives the error, you might want to check the internet and search on it. Well, after importing the libraries, we can now finally start venturing onto APIs. First, we'll start with the weather API. This is the link of whose API we will use. Again, the links are all in the description. Also, important thing I forgot to state, the code is also in the description, the link of the code. It will lead to a Notion page with a database with all the files of my projects. Well, for our first API, we need a API key. I mean, for most APIs, we need a API key. To get a API, first you might want to go to their website and pasting in on the link or opening the link, you will find the home page of the Open Weather. From here, you might want to sign in first. For me, it is already done. And then after signing in and going to the home page, you want to click on API. From this API, click on one call API 3.0, and from here go down to how to start, and in here the first point, go to Open Weather API key, click on it, and your API key, you might want to copy it and then paste it in here. For me, it is already done. Well, after pasting in the API key, we will now paste in our city, for whose city we will want to fetch the weather test base, and after that we will form the base API URL. This is the base API URL of api.openweathermap.org blah blah blah. Again, the code and the link is in the description. Here there are 2 placeholders. This is a string format of Python, and I have made 2 placeholders here. Here the value will be automatically inserted by the corresponding variables like city, here city London, and the API key here, the API key. And then finally there will be the third parameter, or the units parameter, and there are 3 possible values: standard, metric, and imperial. Standard will go with the ACI units. For temperature it is Kelvin. Metric, which I am going for, will go for, I am not sure, but for temperature it will be centigrade, and imperial, the temperature will be Fahrenheit. These are the three possible unit metrics. After that, we'll just request to get the response from the API URL. From there, we'll extract the JSON data, and it will be dumped into a variable called weather data. Now we'll open a file named weatherdata.json in the write mode, and then in that file we'll dump in all our weather data JSON format. After stringifying it, we'll first turn the JSON format. In here it will be a dict value for Python, and it will turn it into a string and then write the JSON into a file named weatherdata.json. After that, we'll just print some specific values like the dt and the main temp. Well, to understand how this works, first we have to look at the JSON structure of the weather data. First, let me just clear the terminal. After that, we will run our code. After running our code, see this print statement at 30 line. It will be printed here, that is the weather data, a bunch of a string of number, and then 7.8 at centigrade. I will tell you what is this, and ignore the rest for now. It is for the other two APIs. Well, first let's go into our weatherdata.json. It will be created in that folder. After opening our weather data for JSON and then formatting it, we'll find first the chord, which is the coordinates or the longitude and the latitude of the city you have stated. Then the weather data, and then the base, and then the main data which will have temperature, feels like, etc. int values. And then if you come down here, dt, you will find a dt which is date and time. This will look nonsense to you as a string of, but actually if you copy it, go to this link epochconverter.com. again, all the links is in the description. You will paste that string of numbers in here, click on this, and then you will find here the human readable format of date and time. It will be in first GMT time zone, then your own local time zone, and then relative how many minutes or hours was the stated time before or after your current time. Like this time was 11 minutes ago. As this value, this dt states what is the time of that we fetched. This is a very recent and good one. Well, that's all for the weather data. If we go back to our code, we are just doing the weather data and finding the dt value and printing it. And for the second value, we are getting first the main child, and from the main child we are getting the temp value. In the JSON, it will be first the main value and then the main child and then the temp value, which is 7.89, which is printed here, centigrades. Well, that's all for the first API, and now we can move on to our second API, or the currency exchange API. This is the link of whose API we will use. Again, the link is in the description. First, as always, you need to find the API key. For that, go to this homepage link. After going to the exchange rate API homepage link, you will first sign in. For me, it is already signed in, and then in this link, in this dashboard of API app, you will have your API key here. You will copy this in and then paste it here. For me it is already pasted. Now there is the from currency or the currency from which you are to convert, and then there is the to currency or the currency to which you will convert, and the amount of from currency to convert to, like it is convert 100 USD to euros, basic things. Now we will go to our URL variable, which will state the API URL will construct it. Again there are two parameters or two templates or placeholders, which are API key and the from currency. Now we will fetch the response from this URL, then find the JSON data from that response. We'll look into the JSON structure in a bit, but then find our conversion rates child from the JSON data. Conversion rates child, we will find the two currency value, which will be the euro rate to USD, and then we will calculate the converted amount, which is just amount of USD to convert multiplied by the euro rate. Then we are just doing the same thing again, opening a file named currency data.json in write mode and dumping all of the JSON data in that file to see the structure. And then at last we are printing some things. We are printing the amount like 100 here, from currency like USD, and then converted amount, and then the two currency euro. Like in the console log you can see currency exchange 100 USD equals to 91.35 euros. That's all. Now let's look at the JSON of this currency data, and after we format it, we can see a lot of stuff. First we can see the result is a success, which is good, and then they will just give us links of the documentation and the terms of use, and then they will just give us the last time this value was updated and the next time it will be updated, and then the base code, which is USD, which we gave, and then finally all the conversion rates with all the final currency at the value. Like USD to USD is 1, but USD to this AED I am not sure which country it is. It is 3.675. that means 1 USD equals to 3.675 AED. Now if I go down below, I mean in the middle somewhere, you can find this euro, which will state that how many euros is 1 USD. So 1 USD is this 0.19 euro according to this time, last updated time. Well, now it's easy things. We can go back to our code and see. So as you have seen, the second API was also easy and is completed. Now we can finally move on to our third and the last API of this day, which will be the news API. This is the link of whose API we will use. Now as always we will need to give the API key. To get the news API key, first go to their home page, then click here get API key, and before getting the API key you would like to sign up. For me it is already signed up, and then after clicking the get API key you will get the API key from here. Copy, go to your code and paste it here. For me it is already pasted. And then finally country, from for which country you want the news to be. For me it is the USA or United States of America here. Well, then we will give the URL, the base API URL, which will be the newsapi.org v2 blah blah blah, and then as always there are two parameters, which is the country and the news API key. Well, that's all. And after that, as always, we are fetching the data from this URL, and again that data into our new data. And then we will finally do a loop, that is the whole from the JSON data we will find the articles child. We will look or in a bit, and then from the articles child we will first 5 articles. For the first 5 articles, for each of the 5 articles will be so in the code. See, so you can see there are 4 Disney World joins theme park closures ahead of Hurricane Milton. There are 4 here, 1 is removed, so everything is okay. Now we can finally go to our weather data, sorry, news data.json to check our JSON. Number of articles or the results 34, okay. And then finally there is a big articles child which will have all the articles. For here it will be 34 articles, and for each article there are several articles for each article. Like let's say this is one article, this is one article, like here. For the first article, ID is null, name is removed, so everything is removed, so we can ignore it. For the second article, we'll find the IP of CB, the idea of from which news program we are getting this news from. So this is the source, ID CBS News, and the name is the CBS News. Author is Kate. Title is Disney World joins theme park closures ahead of Hurricane Milton. Description: Hurricane Milton's approach has Disney World ready to close its doors along with other theme parks across Florida. Floridians and the other people who are affected by this severe storm only after a few days of another severe storm. Well, let's get back the URL of this news, and then the URL to image, which I am not sure what it says, but then the published at, which is the date this news was published at, and then finally a bit of the content this starting content this news has. It will just say a few starting words, and then finally how many characters is the rest of the content, which is for your 2622 characters. Same with the next article, which is the source ID is null, but the name is CNBC News. Author is Samantha Sumin and Sarah Min, and like that this is the next article. There are 34 articles like that, and in our loop, in our code, we are fetching the first 5 articles. For here this null one, this CBS News, and then this CNBC, then BBC, and then this Reuters, up to here I think, and then we are printing the title of this news. Then we can see let's check on another one. Source ID is null, name is BBC News, so this is coming from BBC News, but the ID of this news channel is null. The author is also null, and the title is 2 civilians killed by this. By the way, my condolences to all the people who are severely affected and also died due to this unwanted war. My condolences to all the Palestinian people and also all the innocent Israelis. Same with all this. So that's all. So this is all we will explore today. This was all we explored today, and well, we explored all of this today. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new, and I request you to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and also hit the notification bell to get notified of my future videos. That's all for today. Peace out and bye bye.